Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the Cashflows podcast, episode number 24, I think it is. And we're coming live from Tulsa, Oklahoma this morning. Glad to have you here. And Kenneth, how was Christmas and your weekend?
Christmas was fantastic. Great weekend. Spent some time with family, and now we're back in the studio.
All right. Well, glad to be back at it here. The podcast we do is called Cashflows, and this is where we talk about things that make life better, and we call that the good life. So this might be about finance. It might be about health. It might be about a better way to live your life. We had a phenomenal relationship coach on last week who gave us some really good tips and on dating, and my wife was furious. Come on, that was pretty funny.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite episodes.
First joke of the day.
Jamie Anderson did that. She's a relationship coach who was here last week and really did a great job. So we're coming from Tulsa, Oklahoma, where this show originates from and goes all around the globe, unless you're a flat earther. And there are flat Earth people all around the globe, all over the globe. I heard somebody say that.
All around the globe.
Yeah. So anyway, we're here to talk about the good life, and what we like to do is bring in people that are out there doing the thing, living the good life, living their best life, starting a business, running a family, and having success in lots of different kinds. And so we love doing this show. And I'm here with my co-conspirator in life, Mr. Kenneth Bauckham. Kenneth, I want to say officially welcome to you.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much.
And very, very glad you're here. And we've been off for a few days, and we checked our MySpace and our AOL email.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mentioned this last week. I had just gotten another disc in the mail, so I've got 11 more minutes on my AOL account.
Got some more minutes there.
Got some more minutes available. Yeah. And I went to check it, and we had a whole bunch of email questions for you. Apparently, you've got a fan base out there.
Wow.
And people wanted to know some things. And the number one question that's come through, and these came in from all over the world.
Yeah.
And they wanted to answer this question. And that question was, hey, Kenneth, what's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?
I'm so glad they asked. It's almost as if it's scripted, that they just keep asking the same question.
It's uncanny.
But no, I'm glad. It's very uncanny. I'm actually just here to ensure that there is a sufficient supply of puns.
Ooh, okay. Well, don't punish us with that.
I will not.
And I hope your puns are complete, like not 2/3 of a pun, because PU.
Right. That's true. That's true. Well, the punchline was a little bit earlier there, but
it's just okay.
The pun line.
I see what you did there.
That's great.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what's interesting to me? I'm going to grab my cell phone here. I think this is an interesting topic of conversation. You ever think about the impact of this device?
Yeah. I think they think about it too. There's so many cracked screens going around, but you go ahead.
Oh, good point. Well, I was just thinking, like, the change in industry comes from a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how we never call yellow cab anymore.
Right.
I mean, whoever calls them and waits an hour, for somebody to maybe show up, and then you got to give them, I don't know, the whole dynamic has changed.
Yeah.
And yellow cab, like I know the one in San Francisco, I think had filed bankruptcy or had some issues. It was a giant, but was that competition from the cab industry? No, it was competition from the technology industry.
Yeah.
And how often change comes in an industry from outside the industry. Mm-hmm. And so this became my alarm clock. Timex out of business or went bankrupt.
Yeah. Sorry, Rolex.
Yeah. Well, that maybe a little different.
Sorry, Casio.
Now we're cooking. This is my camera. Kodak bankrupt. Mm-hmm. But everybody uses this for a camera. And this is my Word document processor.
Yeah.
And it makes telephone calls.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyway,
where's the cord? I thought it had a little curly.
Well, according to statistics, there is no cord. Sorry, man, I am on fire.
Yeah, we're doing good today.
And then I was looking at my jacket. Like, I've had this jacket a while.
Yeah.
And I've never unzipped this until this morning. Oh, yeah.
What is that perfectly sized receptacle for your wall phone?
Yes.
That'd be perfect for the treadmill when you go do your
I'm figuring it out.
Everybody could be live from inside his pocket.
Right, yeah.
And here's what they're going to hear. Anyway, I'm
Wow.
just kind of amazed
Yeah.
by the cell phone. And I do my reminders and I write on it
Hmm.
and I write scripts on. I mean, I've got. Do you save notes? Are you a note saver?
I'm a
Oh,
noter.
100%.
I was looking at my notes the other day, and I was like, "What is wrong with me?" And I have, and I write constantly, and I delete them when I'm done. If I'm done with
Hmm.
a note, I'm done with it. And as of today, I have 2,792 notes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you a note so we can make that an odd number.
Ooh, that would be odd.
It
Okay.
would be.
All right. Well, anyway, I would just some curiosity about the impact of the cell phone on American business,
Oh,
on
yeah.
American life. I bumped into a guy this weekend that I haven't seen literally for about 37 years,
Okay.
and we're both a little older, and I bump into him at an
A
event.
little.
Well, he was a lot
Well,
older. I
yeah.
I've always been this ugly, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey, I know you, and
Right.
he takes a selfie of us. And I'm like, you realize, like, that's the first selfie that you and I have ever taken. When we knew each other,
Right.
there was no cell phone. There was no hope
Mhm.
for a cell phone. It didn't
Phones didn't
exist.
have cameras back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. And anyway, so I'm just impressed by the technology. I think a lot of people think that the cell phone is a distraction. What would you say about that?
It definitely can be. I think there's a whole lot to be said as far as like the number of things that we allow to send us urgent, air quotes, urgent
Right.
Mhm.
notifications. That definitely, it takes a lot more work now to actually focus
Yeah.
on things than it used to.
Yeah. For me, it's given me this element of freedom I could only once imagine.
Yeah.
I work in the financial industry, and if a client needs to reach me, you know, I leave my phone on during the day,
Yeah.
and I'm easy to reach, and it's enabled me to spend more time with my family.
Sure.
Mhm.
It's enabled me to play more golf. It's
Yeah.
enabled me to fish a little bit more,
Yeah.
and it's just enabled me a extra level of freedom that I don't
Yeah.
think we had because I can, I like to drive, and I don't mind driving 4 hours to go see a friend for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
but in that 8 hours round trip, I can still be at least available on the phone. So I like the level
Sure.
of extra freedom, and I think there comes a responsibility with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think people get addicted to their phone and
Oh, yeah,
scrolling? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember I was in hour 7 of scrolling reels on Facebook, and I was like, maybe I have a problem.
That
Now
was just a few minutes ago, wasn't it?
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
up all night, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry I couldn't quit. Man, the puppy memes, like
Right.
they just get me every
Cat
time. Oh,
videos.
cat videos. Yeah,
Oh,
we have
yeah, we
this
love watching those.
device that can change the world and solve any number of problems and provide vast information. What do you use it for? Arguing and cat videos.
That's right. That's right.
Arguing with strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to make a conscious effort to, like, if it dings and I'm in the middle of, say, doing the dishes or
right.
spending time with the kids, like you said, reminding myself that it is not urgent. Like,
Yeah.
whenever what I am finished doing is done, that notification will still be there
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that it's not.
Absolutely.
But I do agree that it is very helpful in life, but it can become, like you were saying, Kenneth, a distraction.
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't want to drop my phone in the dishwater either. So that's a secondary benefit to ignoring it while
Yeah.
doing dishes
Yeah.
or laundry.
Or
That's
you could
that's a big tub of water
do a
too.
live from the dishwasher. Like
There'd be a
I'm
lot
doing
of
Facebook Live from my dishwasher. Put it in a baggie.
Oh my
with
gosh.
with rice because it's going to get wet. I mean, but anyway,
Man, I am sorry I thought of that.
I feel like we've digressed a little bit. Maybe do we have a guest in the studio today?
We do
Cash?
have a guest in the studio, and I am excited to introduce a good friend of mine and Kenneth's. And I want to introduce everybody to Courtney Stewart. Courtney, good morning.
Good morning, Cash and Kenneth. Glad
Yeah.
to be here this morning.
That's our live studio
Live
audience
studio.
back
They're
there
excited too.
back
Yeah,
there in the hallway who are happy to see Courtney as well.
that's right.
And Courtney is a representative with a company called Melaleuca. She is a mother of 2 wonderful children, and her husband is the head golf pro at La Fortune Park here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And just somebody that we met early in our Tulsa adventure, and somebody that we've grown to be friends with and care about and love. And I think there's a life beyond business,
Oh, yeah.
and we've been able to enjoy a life
Mhm.
beyond business. And so we're excited to have Courtney on the show. So, Courtney, tell us, we met you, I don't a year and a half ago or so at this event called the Bong,
Yes. Yeah.
And so this show was spawned by the members of the Bong, and it obviously has been a big part of that. So tell our listening audience a little bit about your first exposure to the Bong group and what that was like. And we're going to dig into your life here in a few minutes.
Well, I will say my first experience was a little overwhelming, and people that know me will be surprised by that because I am highly extroverted. But the first time I walked into Cash and Katie's house, there was over 70 people in their house, and their house is very large. But when you're somebody new walking in, it can be overwhelming. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know if this group is right for me. But I think that it's important to, you know, give something that is uncomfortable a chance.
Oh,
And
that's good advice.
I did give something that was uncomfortable a chance. And had I walked away that day because my first experience was uncomfortable, I would not have made the relationships that I have today based off of that one experience. I
Right.
now get to have amazing friends like you and Katie and people within the Bong where, like you were saying, we do life together. We go grab coffee, our kids play, we have each other at our houses to have dinner.
Yeah.
If we are hurting, like I know Wednesday I texted you and Katie and said, Josh and I are having a really hard week. Can you please be praying for us? And
Right.
that is,
And we did.
yes. And I mean, we can feel those prayers. And so I just am so thankful for this group and what it has meant to me. Not only has it impacted my business and given me opportunities that I never would have had without it, but I have literally made relationships that will last me a lifetime. And you
Yeah.
guys have become family to us.
Thank you. Well, I think that's the purpose of the right kind. There's a lot of networking groups out there, and I support all of them. If you're out promoting entrepreneurship, man, I am your advocate, however you're doing it. And I may not know much about your business, but when I see entrepreneurs gathering for the purpose of growing entrepreneurship, man, we're all in with that idea.
Mhm.
And that's part of why the three of us are here this morning and having coffee and having some quality time and talking about the Bong. And so, one of the things, Kenneth, that I, for me, is I love to learn from other people. And I love to watch somebody, and it's not only that we can only glean good information from hyper successful people, the multimillionaires, but I like to see how normal, amazing humans take the first step on the ladder, or the second step, or the
Yeah.
third step. Now, Courtney, you're with Melaleuca.
Absolutely.
They are an online health and wellness company.
Mm-hmm.
I myself use their products, but I'm not here doing promo for them. You are. But you've had a relative level of success with the company.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get started doing that? Let's just talk real quick. Give us a brief overview of how you got started with it.
I've been here 3.5 years now, and I got started honestly. One of my friends kept reaching out to me, and if I am real honest, it took me 3 months to finally say yes to her. I was
Right.
like, no, I'm not interested. And my goodness, was she persistent. And so finally, I was like, if she cares enough about this product and this company, I'm going to give it a look. So I watch her video, and I'm like, I tell Josh he's going to watch it with me. We watch it together, and we're like, all right, we're all in for trying the products. But I made sure to tell her, I am not working this business. I simply want to use the products.
Right.
We get the products. I fall in love with them, and I'm like, okay, how do I make this become a business for
Right.
my family?
Because when you're having success, you want to tell your friends.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
And so COVID happened, and I was at home, and we found out that we were pregnant with our second child. That was a 2% chance of ever being here.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I sat down with my husband and I said, here's the cost of what it would take for them to be in childcare, for me to go work 8 to 5. We prayed about it and determined that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And I knew I was contributing to the family in multiple ways, but I still wanted to be able to contribute monetarily. I was
Right.
a licensed professional counselor before,
Hmm.
and helping people was always my passion. So
Mhm.
when I found Melaleuca and realized that this isn't just about using products, this is about wellness, this is about changing people's lives, helping them see that there is a balance. Like, I'm not going to lie, me and my kids still love to drive through Chick-fil-A,
Right.
but we really try to, eliminate toxins as much as possible from our lives. And
So
so,
I think that itself is a great topic. I am a student of economics,
Hmm.
and this baby boom generation. I don't know if you know what the baby boom generation is, but between 1942 and 1964, Americans were coming home from war and they were fertile. I don't know what was going on over there, but they came back and
Something in the water.
something in the water. Yes, yeah, husband and wife. So, can we say that on this podcast?
We should probably stop there. Yeah,
Okay, we'll
but
just leave it right there. But
Yeah.
80 million babies were born in a short amount of time. And every area that those 80 million, I mean, they looked like a pig going through a python. And every area that those babies touched, 1950s Gerber baby food and Mattel blew up.
Mhm.
Early 60s fast food blew up because the moms were going to work because they had all these babies and
Yeah.
it was expensive. And then, late 60s, like Zigzag rolling papers was a giant economic entity
Mhm.
because all the newborn babies were smoking pot. 1971, prisons grew big because we're putting all the babies in jail. And then sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, Al Gore invented the internet and the
Right.
tech industry blew up.
Well, he invented it right after we did, but yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you got to give credit where credit is due. And
Yeah.
I thought algorithm was Al Gore teaching a dance class somewhere in Tennessee.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought that too, but
oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
but the baby boom generation has been prolific in every area that it's touched.
Mhm.
Then going into the tech industry, then the 401k is invented in the early 80s. We're going away from pensions, and all of a sudden the financial industry, that's when I got in the financial industry, early 80s. Thank you. And every area that the baby boomers touch, and I'm saying this for a purpose to your business. Well, today, 10,000 people every day turn 65 years old.
Wow.
And I've studied as much economics as I can about that homogenous group of people. They are interested in two things. You know what those two things are?
Tell us.
One is travel, and the other is health and wellness.
Mm.
And I can tell you, if you're not healthy or well, you ain't traveling. And
Facts.
I think, Courtney, that you're in the right industry at the right time. I think timing is vital.
Mhm.
And I hear about health and wellness businesses, and I want to know more because our American healthcare system is neither healthy, caring, or a system. And I see people like you,
Preach.
professionals, that are coming out going, hey, we don't have to inhale these toxins. Hey, we don't have to put fluoride in all these things because fluoride, that's one of the things that turned me on, man. There's just very few fluoride-free toothpastes and
Hmm.
cleaners that don't have bleach, and so I'm just kind of giving you a promo. But this baby boom generation, you and I will talk more about
Yeah.
this. But man, they say you got to be in the right place at the right time,
Yep.
but you also have to be the right person. And 3.5 years ago, you took that step to be the right person at the right time in the right business. And so we're super excited. I know you've had some success with it,
Hmm.
and we want to talk a little bit about success, and so that our listeners can go, oh, hey, here's a tip from Courtney. Courtney climbed the ladder to
Mhm.
some degree. What's the highest? I don't know. I'm not on. That's
Yeah.
sometimes you climb the ladder and find out you have it against the wrong building. But anyway,
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about what drives success for Courtney and your family, and how do you identify it, and let's talk a little bit about success. So, how did you take the first couple of steps towards success?
Mm. I would say for me, it's consistency. Um, in this industry, you get a lot of no's before you get those yeses, but consistency outbeats intensity every single time. And I'll give you an example. I used to run half marathons. Yeah,
Wow.
the look on your face. Anyways, it's 13.2 miles. And when you finally see that finish line, I would always hear my coach in my head saying, give it everything you've got, run with intensity until you cross that line. But before that point 0.2 miles of reaching the finish line, there's 13 other miles.
Right.
And if I had ran those other 13 miles like I ran that last 0.2 miles,
Right.
I would have burnt out real fast and never wanted to run another half marathon. But
Right.
instead, It's step by step in the right direction to get you to meet your goal of finishing the race. And that's how I look at Melaleuca. It's step by step, putting in the daily work, doing my sheets, making those one-to-one appointments, building those relationships.
Right.
People buy products from people that they know, like, and trust.
That's right.
If you are getting yourself out there and you are being consistent, even if somebody says no to you, I've had multiple people that have said no, but then they see me make a post that resonates with them,
Right.
and they will reach out and send me a message and say, okay, I know I said no before, but I am ready to hear what you have to tell me. And
Right.
it's because I am consistent in what I do. And I feel like that then snowballs into multiple other areas
Right.
of my life, and being, a child of God, consistently staying in His Word, being able to be close to my husband, being the best mom that I can be because I consistently do the things to get me in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think those consistent things you do turn into habits, right?
Exactly.
And when you're a baby, you don't have any habits other than crying and eating, and but as we grow, you start these habits. In fact, my favorite book is called Power of Consistency by Weldon Long, and I've given away hundreds of copies of that book for me and my business. And I'm glad to hear you say consistency is the key for you. I think it's the little things you do over a long period of time. Consistency over time equals results. Is that what you're saying there?
Absolutely.
Wow,
Took the words out of my mouth.
well, I think that's a good thing we have a script. That was kind of funny.
It was. I liked it.
So the little things. I mean, so Melaleuca says it's not a network marketing company, and I respect their verbiage, but it's a direct sales company, which would be similar to other network marketing companies.
Yeah.
And I want to state emphatically, I support that 100%. There's not a negative about that. It is just a different kind of distribution system where the profits are shared with the individual rather than the corporation. Is that an accurate way for me to say that?
Yeah, other MLMs, it's based upon a tier system. And within Melaleuca, we say that we are not an MLM because we simply tell people about our products. I am the marketer for
Right.
Melaleuca. So if you go buy Clorox from Walmart, well, they have paid somebody to ship the product to their shelves. They are paying for the advertising. They're doing
Right.
all the things. Melaleuca cuts out the middleman. They do everything in-house. And then they have people like me that market why we love the products. And so it's a difference in MLM because of the approach that they take to it.
So let's help our listeners understand. If I was a Melaleuca customer or a representative, either one, I don't have to buy a bunch of products and keep them in my garage to sell them to my friends, right?
No, that's
those days are over.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Literally, I get to set up a link for somebody and they go online and shop, and the products are sent directly to their home. So it comes straight from Melaleuca. I don't have to keep anything in my house. I don't have to worry about putting this money up front and hoping and praying that the products sell. One, I know that if I did, the products would sell themselves because they are that good.
Right.
But that's the system that Melaleuca has for us, is they do everything, and we simply get to tell people why we love what we do.
I think the system's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My wife and I use the products. One of the reasons we use the products is we owned Airbnbs, and the Airbnb people during the COVID time had these requirements for products that could clean germs. I don't know all the
Jargon.
I don't know all the inside.
They wanted the
words.
product to work.
They wanted it to work. Yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted it to save lives, and that the product that and I forget the name of it, but the anti-COVID germ juice.
Soluguard.
Yes, that one.
Germ
Yeah.
juice.
I don't know.
Registered trademark.
Yeah, that's it. I think we just created a new company right there. But apparently it was on the approved list
Yes.
by somebody, some government organization, the anti-germ people.
Right.
Um,
AGP.
wouldn't that make them Germans?
Well, that's something else.
Oh,
Oh my
sorry.
goodness.
Man, we got to get a better guy for this podcast. I've got like a third grade mentality. But anyway, we loved the product and it worked and it
Hmm.
was concentrated. And,
Yeah.
I was just fascinated by the whole concept. So we were very glad to have you on the show today. So talk to us about what helps you, like what encourages you, like how do you get through? Like talk, you're an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I mean, let's roll back about 20 feet. You're a mom.
I am.
That's first.
Hmm.
You're a wife.
Yes,
You're a friend to a lot of people.
I am.
You're involved in the community
Hmm.
and you run a business from home.
I do.
Like, how do you,
I'm very busy.
I mean, what helps you out? What
Whew.
moves you to the next level?
Oh goodness. Really, it is habit stacking. If I want to be able to watch an hour of my favorite show, then that means putting in an hour of time with my work so that I can watch an hour of my favorite show. So if
Right.
I'm going to get to watch a show with Josh, then I know that first I'm going to get, that work put in because when it comes to entrepreneurship, it can either be a hobby or it can be your livelihood. And if you treat your entrepreneurial company like a hobby, you're not going to see success. I mean, if you showed up for work for 1 hour and they're expecting you to be there for 8 hours,
Right.
are they going to pay you?
No,
Nah,
probably not.
probably not. And so I think that it's just figuring out how to make it work to where you have a system in place that's going to drive you to success. So I know that I work Melaleuca into the pockets of my day. And what I mean by that is if I'm spending time with my children, I want them to know that mommy is present, right?
Right.
And so if I get a outreach from somebody saying, "Hey, tell me about Melaleuca," I communicate that to my kids. I say, "Hey, Palmer, hey, Payne, mommy's got to answer this phone call real fast. I'm going to get you a snack. I'm going to put a show on for you." And I make sure that they have what they need before I take care of my own needs. And I really think that that has just resonated throughout my life. The other day, Palmer said to me, "Mommy, I know you work from your phone a lot, and I just want you to know that you're a really good mommy." And she wrote me this note, and it said, "Mommy and me." And she said, "I really like you." And it was just in that moment that I was like, kids truly see what we are doing. And so the things that I have put into place, I noticed that they actually really do matter. And sometimes we go through the motions of the day. It's just what we've created, it's what we do. And you're kind of like, is what I'm doing working? Does it matter? And so whenever you get those aha moments, it's like, okay, this is it. I'm doing
This
the
sort of
right
makes sense.
thing.
I'm going to roll back for a second. You said something that I thought was just brilliant. You talked about allocating time, but you almost made it sound like you had to earn it. Like if I'm going to watch an hour of television, then I'm going to make sure I do X amount of work. Can you
Yeah.
just dig into that for just a few seconds?
Yeah. I mean, even within the last 3 months this year, I set a goal for myself and I knew that I wanted to lose 22 pounds. I actually did. I exceeded
Wow.
it. I've lost 24 pounds.
Nice.
That's a whole other show right there. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. But so in order to do that, I knew that I had to put in the steps to be able to drive that success, right?
Right.
That
Yeah.
meant getting up every morning and drinking water first instead of getting up and drinking coffee. It's like, okay, I didn't sleep very good last night. I was getting up and drinking coffee.
Yeah.
So I had to learn, okay, what things do I need to switch in my current habits and behaviors to be able to find
Yeah, that
success?
makes sense. I, during the first part of my career, maybe year 4 or 5, I loved playing golf. I played a lot of golf. I had a weekly golf group, but I had a set of things. If I didn't do them, I had a set of activities, not results. I've never been totally results oriented. I feel like the only thing that you and I can control is the activity,
Mm-hmm.
the input, the actions. And
Yeah.
that's what I hear you saying.
Mm-hmm.
And my golf buddies, like I had a regular foursome for like 10 years, and they would call me on Thursday and go, "Hey, are you doing your work?" Because if I didn't hit my activity goal, I would call them Friday night and go, "Hey guys, I'm out. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to play golf with you." And like they like taking my money, so they wanted to make sure that I showed up. They called me payday. I thought that was a compliment. But yeah, if I didn't do my activity, I did not play golf. I left my golf clubs in the closet. And I like hearing what you say is that like you try to allocate and earn the time. I think that makes a lot of sense for anybody listening to this show. Power of consistency.
Yeah. Even something as simple as making my bed. I love, getting up in the morning and having the bed made. It just feels like,
Oh, right. So is that a habit that you have? You do that every day?
I try to do it every day. Now, if I get up and my husband is still in the bed, sometimes,
Yeah, it's tough
like
when you have a big lump in the bed after you made it.
So sometimes it's like halfway through the day, I walk into the bedroom and I do make the bed. It may be midday, but there's something about when I come to bed at night and being able to pull that cover back
Right.
and, just relax that makes me feel like, all right, I did that and now I get to enjoy what I've done.
I think there's a beauty in your workspace and in your sleep space.
Mhm.
I know that when I have a big project, and I've got one coming up right now, it's this podcast and a couple other things, is I'll extra clean my office. I'll get everything in order. And I think it's just a lot easier when your life is in order.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to. So I want to go sideways here for a second. You're a singer.
I am a singer.
We're not going to ask you to sing because then Kenneth will try to do harmony and it'll be like the Donnie and Marie Osmond show. All right, that was pretty good. Tell us real quick about being a singer. There are a lot of people. I am one of those guys. I wish I could sing, and the rest of the world wishes I wouldn't even attempt it. Tell us about your singing career. I know I've heard you sing, and I was impressed by that.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. My parents, I don't know, from an early age, they, told me that I just had this natural ability to sing. And, whenever you're being encouraged, you just kind of run with it. And
Yeah.
so then from elementary school, got into choir, loved that, then started doing show choir, and I loved performing. And I thought, okay, why not get into drama? And so it just kind of, spiraled into multiple things. Then I started doing pageants, and I was like, I can sing for my talent in my pageants. And then, I needed to be able to do public speaking from the stage for my pageants. So I got a coach on how to speak from your diaphragm. Well, singing comes from your diaphragm. And again, when we're talking about snowball, it was just like all these little things that I learned through singing have helped me in other areas
Right, so
of
that
my
translates
life.
to your business as well.
It does, yeah.
So, I mean, either now or one day you'll be up on a stage talking to lots of people about what you do, and not just about your company, but how to be successful and how you've built and how you've, balanced all of those things. I bet that helps you a great deal in all those areas.
It does. It gives me a lot of confidence to know that, God gave me the talent to be able to sing, and that is translating to so many other things. Like you said, you never knew that I sang, and I went to karaoke night,
Right.
and everybody's like, Courtney sings? And it's like, yeah, that's like a different side of who I am, and all those vocal lessons of, warming up your voice and learning.
A-E-I-O-U.
Yeah.
Did it this morning before this,
Right.
right? I mean, yeah, so it is just a part of who I am. I used to be on the praise and worship team at church, and it has really carried
Awesome.
on to
We're
me
going to
today.
take a brief break, Kenneth, and we're going to say thank you to some of our studio sponsors. Kenneth, take it
sounds
away,
exciting.
sir.
All right. So, listeners, before we dive back into today's episode, let's shout out our amazing sponsors. This podcast is coming to you from the studio at Elevate Coworking. Our signage is provided by CM Customs, and this show features amazing entrepreneurs from the Tulsa Business Owners Networking Group. We're sponsored by MFP, My Financial Plan, on the World Wide Web at joinmfp.com, and the show is produced by the audio-video expert at Kenneth Bauckham Photography. With these sponsors top of mind, let's return to Cashflows, already in progress.
All right, we're here today with Courtney Stewart. Courtney is a representative of Melaleuca, an independent representative. You're not an employee.
No, sir.
This is an entrepreneurial endeavor for you.
Absolutely.
You eat what you kill. If you make it, great. If you don't make it, you go hungry.
I'm not sure I've heard that quote before.
What's that? Eat what you kill?
Is the whole, I guess.
I might have added some things to it.
Maybe.
I'm not very exact when I copy people.
Oh,
except
okay.
when I copy off their paper in third grade, like I was pretty exact.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no room for interpretation there. So we're talking to Courtney Stewart this morning, from the Tulsa area, is building a Melaleuca business. Um, she's a mom, she's a wife. So I want to talk real quick, and you may have already answered this, but many people watch entrepreneurs and they say things like, "I don't know if I could do that,"
Mhm.
um, and I don't know if that's from the selling standpoint or the business standpoint. But one of the things I think that holds people back is this thing called balance. How do you balance your children, your marriage? You lost 22 pounds in the last 3 months. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like, I hope, I mean, we're at New Year's. Like, you did it before New Year's.
I
It
did. Yeah.
wasn't some crazy New Year's resolution that you've
Right.
abandoned by Valentine's Day. Like, you went and did it.
I went and did it.
Yeah, I mean, I am amazed by that. But so you've done things, you've accomplished things,
Mhm.
and you've stayed married, and you're a mom, and you're a friend to people like me and Katie and Ken. Like you're involved.
I am.
How do you balance all of that, Courtney?
Oh, well, definitely staying connected to God. Without him, I would not be where I am today. I remember in our premarital counseling, the pastor said to us, when you're looking at a pyramid, it's God first, it's your spouse second, it's remembering that your kids are third, and always making your spouse a priority because you had your spouse before you had those kids.
Sure.
And then, having yourself and what is it that you're putting into yourself? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you
Right.
diving into the word? Are you reading books that you recommend to me to listen to grow? And so I think that it is going by that pyramid of knowing that these are the things that I need to do to have my life in order. And a lot of people get that backwards because kids can take up a lot of our time,
Right.
and they, get have activities and all the play dates and everywhere that you're having to run them around. And so it's making that conscious decision to check in at the end of the day and say, okay, did I start my day in the word? Have I prayed over what I want to happen for the day? Have I prayed over the people that I want to come into my life? Really being able to ask myself, am I staying aligned with the outcomes that I want to be able to get there and meet my goals?
So you are one of the most positive people
Oh, thank
that
you.
I've ever met. And you meet people, and some people are a faucet and some people are a drain.
Mm-hmm.
You ever meet those people? And maybe that's a little negative, but Courtney, you just seem to breathe life into others and your positivity. And I try to be. I mean, people have accused me of being over positive. Like some guy asked the other day, he goes, "You ever wake up grumpy in the morning?" I'm like, "Nah, I just let her sleep." And but I mean, attitude sometimes is a choice.
Oh,
Tell
I think all the time attitude is a choice.
I mean, does your faith play into that? Do you and Josh sit around and go, "Hey, let's," I mean, you guys have had some stuff lately, and we all do in our life. But how do you manage to move through those and stay positive
Mhm.
in this walk of life?
I mean, I think that our mind naturally focuses on negative happenings, right? Like if I would have set a goal for 30 pounds to lose and I only lost 22 pounds, I could have been like, I only lost 22 pounds,
Right.
right? Versus being like, I don't know, it's 22, 24. I don't even remember
We're
at
going
this point.
24
Like,
now.
Sure.
We're
Good.
stepping it
it
up.
was 2 pounds every week. Every time I checked in with the coach, they were like, all right, you're doing exactly what we want you to do. You're losing 2 pounds every week. So whatever that correlates to over
Right.
3 months, 24 pounds, I think it was. Anyways, but what I would say is that our mind plays tricks on us, right? It's like if you focus on the negative, then that will drive your outcomes. And so for me, I feel that I focus on the progress that I have made. I tell myself, to look and focus on how far I have come. Because at the end of the day, Did I meet every goal that I had for 2023? No, I did not.
Right.
But I did achieve a lot of them. And the ones that I didn't meet, they're going to carry with me on into the next year. And I can focus on what's next. And so I think that that is what I would say is that whenever I get a no, I tell myself that's just one no. That person was not meant to be with Mel Luca right now. Because what I do know is I believe everyone needs Mel Luca. It's just a matter of it fitting into their life at
Right.
the right time. And so whenever things don't necessarily go as I have planned, I don't focus on the negative, but I
Right.
focus on what has happened that has been in my favor.
Got it. So now you were a counselor prior to Melaleuca,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys were married.
Ooh.
Talk to me about transitioning from full-time security to, being in control of your destiny, building your own dream. I mean, what was that transition like for you guys as a family? And now that you're contributing income, I know it's a little easier, but how do you go through that first part of that? I mean, is that faith? Is it just
Mm-hmm.
ambition? How do you move through that fear when you're on first base but trying to steal second base, but you want to stay safe on first base?
Well, we did financial programs back before we had met you and
Okay,
learned about your program. We did Dave Ramsey Financial
sure,
Peace University.
sure
And
thing.
so it was like, how do we stay on track of, okay, if we want for me to be able to stay at home, be a stay at home mom, that meant saying no to a lot of things, and it wasn't always easy. You get that invite to 3 birthday parties for your kids' friends. That's going to mean, taking those presents, and you're like, well, that's not going to be in the budget for this
Right,
month. And so we have to say no. Or, you know, date nights got really creative of popcorn and a movie in the bedroom after the kids went to bed instead of getting to go out and have that fancy $100 dinner. I mean,
right,
there was definitely a season where we had to make a lot of sacrifices to be where we are today.
right,
And so I think that that is what I always remember is no matter how far you come. I was just saying at dinner last night when we were out with friends, I was like, even if I had $1 million sitting in my bank account,
right,
I would still want to live below my means because that means that I would be able to give above and beyond what I'm doing right now. So the more money coming in, that would just mean being able to give to charity and things that I'm not already doing right now. And so we make the choice to be able to, give back with what we have been given.
right. And you've been faithful in that, I know.
Mm.
And I think I like to watch a story evolve,
Hmm.
but I'm curious about the first part when it's really scary.
Really scary.
And then you meet somebody three and
Whew.
a half years down the road and they've started to have some success and make some money. And from you, I feel like it's more important to make a contribution to people than a contribution to your checking account. Is that, I think I'm
Yeah.
reading you right, that I mean,
Oh,
you love the people in the story.
yes. I mean, I think that that is what drives me to do what I do. If you have the mindset of who's the next customer I can get, well, that's not going to be what's going to help you see that success. But if I was to meet you and you weren't with Mel Luca yet, and I was like, how can I help Cash Matthews? Does he have a kid that has eczema and they need some of our Renew
Right,
lotion and it's going to turn his life around? Or are they struggling with asthma in their home and the cleaners that they're using right now are making them cough to the point that they're having a hard time breathing? I
right,
mean, I look at it as what family am I able to help today that is going to make an impact on their health and their wellness, their life, their home, their bodies for the rest of their life.
All right, we're going to wrap up in a minute with a final segment, a nugget from you, but I want to bounce right back to the health side. We're all on a health journey
Mm-hmm.
of some sort. The minute we're born, we're trying to survive and get better. And one of the things that I've learned, and I'm so impressed that you've lost 22 pounds. I think our listeners are going to want to know more about that. I think your coffee bill is going to go up through the roof here pretty soon. People, okay, so you lost 24 pounds, and it wasn't a January 1st kind of deal, and you went and did it. How did you? And I hope people will reach out to you. But I have an opinion that good health. A lot of people think good health is that you're just not sick at the moment. And but in my brain, Kenneth, good health is, I envision a scale of 0 upwards to the positive and downwards to the negative. And I think good health I think you can have good health and be absent of disease. Maybe you've got better nutrition, better vitamins, better intake, better air quality,
Yeah.
better, I started to look at all the bleach in our house. And man, it was toxic, and we've removed all of that stuff. And I'm an anti, the fluoride in the water these days. I don't think that's actually good for us. And so we started doing these anti-fluoride things, and our health has improved just by and we're buying those products anyway, right? I mean,
Mhm.
so we didn't really think a lot of people sell things and it's a new expense. All we did was convert our old, like I fired Walmart
Yeah.
and I fired Walgreens,
Right?
and I spend it now with Melaleuca.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was already spending the money, so it wasn't a new expense.
Yeah.
Do you see most people feeling that same way?
Yeah, I think that whenever I reach out to people, that's one of their first questions is inflation is so high in the world right now. How would I even be able to sign up with Melaleuca? I can't afford it. And that's the beauty of it is you can afford it. You
Yeah,
are simply switching where you are currently shopping at, and our products are highly concentrated. So if you buy a bottle of Clear Power and you're like, okay, this is, I don't know, off the top of my head, $5.99, but it makes 6 bottles.
Right.
So you take that and divide it, and you're like, okay, so literally I'm paying this per bottle.
Yeah, like $1 a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've really enjoyed the products, and I wanted to say that. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to get a nugget from Courtney Stewart on business, and it can be on life or marriage, but we want something that our listeners can hang on to that you've done in your business. And you may have already said it with your consistency comments, but tell our listeners today something that they ought to know.
I think that in life, it is all about people. It's about the relationships you build, and it's about letting each person know that they matter and they are important to you. Whether you have a business of 20 or whether you have a business of 200 or 2,000, you do not want people in your life to feel like they are just another number. You want them to know that the impact that they are making in your life matters. And when I get to mentor people, I help them see that they need to build those relationships and make those connections, just like I have with you, so that when you need somebody and when they need you, they are always there. So the counselor in me loved helping people, and I still get that opportunity to help people and continue to make those relationships day in and day out. So let relationships drive what you do, and every day look for those opportunities to make those connections. Even if it is simply smiling at somebody at the grocery store, you have no idea what that person might be going through, and your smile can be what turns their day around.
All right, we are here with Courtney Stewart, a independent representative with the Melaleuca Corporation. And Courtney, we're so glad that you're here with us today. Mr. Kenneth, we've done another one.
Yes, we have.
I am excited that people stopped by here today. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, to Elevate Coworking, to Kenneth Bockham, video productions, photo productions,
Yeah.
and
Thank
now podcast production producer extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to be
I
doing
got to get a
this with
second business card just for that job title.
you. Yeah, well, yeah, that's important.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic, but hey, we want to thank you, the listeners, and the people watching the video today. Thank you for being here. We're excited to be here. Our motto, our idea is fire, aim, ready. And we think that will serve most people. Here on Cash Flows, we want to promote you, the entrepreneur. We want to promote friends. Our nugget today, authentic relationships, meet people, greet people, and let the business fall where it may. So we're happy everybody's here today. So until our next show, be nice to each other, love one another. And you know what would be a great idea today, Kenneth, if some of you would go out and just forgive somebody who absolutely doesn't deserve it. And that's what we've been given in our lives through salvation, and we hope you enjoy it. So our 2 listeners over in Shawnee, Oklahoma, man, we're thankful that you're listening in today. And for the 3 of you that continue to like our posts on a daily basis, Kenneth and I are running over to Quick Trip if y'all want to grab a slushie. Y'all have a good day.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cash Flows.